It is day 6 of my fruit fast today. Yesterday was filled with density, underworld, navigating of tensions, navigating of grief, navigating of pain, navigating of darkness. Today, I feel like the wind. I feel light like a feather. I feel like, in comparison to yesterday, I'm flying. And part of my documentation of this journey, through the depths of the shadows and through the heights of my flights, is to portray, both to myself, portray and document, both for myself and for whoever benefits from this video, or from these videos, to portray and document the fullness, the full spectrum of the journey. Yesterday's video, I was like, I don't feel like doing this. It was very forced. It felt like a shitty video. I'm like, no one's going to want to watch this. But there is some part of me that wants to train the commitment to doing something every day in the documenting of my journey and my transformation. And I'm going to be very honest, like yesterday, some of the shadows that I was facing, I'm doing this 40-day fruit fast. So I'm day 6, and I don't know what's at the end of the 40 days. And there is a tremendous vulnerability in sharing all of that with the world. Because there's this part of me that's like, what if at the end of 40 days, I just feel like absolute shit and I like have completely destroyed my life? What if I don't transform? What if I give up? What if my weakness wins? What if things don't turn out so well? What if the purification isn't actually purifying, but destructive? What if I die? What if, as I'm facing these shadows and these shadows and these shadows and swimming in the darkness and facing my demons, like that doesn't stop? And I like do this with the intention of coming closer to God, but I just find myself drowning some more. That would really suck on its own, but it would suck even more because I'm like putting myself out there and documenting it with hopes that this underworld journey can somehow bring me to heaven and help others find that path. But if I am seen and witnessed vulnerably, just like drowning in the sea of my own ghosts in perpetuity, that would just suck. So I'm giving voice to these things not because I believe them, but because they're there. And that's a little bit of what was alive yesterday. And that's the voice that I'm facing within myself, in my commitments to myself and to you, to vulnerably share and offer my transformation to myself and to the world. It is an opportunity for me to witness those parts of myself and to be witnessed in those parts of myself. Wherein witnessing with the light of awareness is itself healing. To see and to be seen is healing. Now there is that voice that thinks of what could go wrong, that really focuses and hones in on those possibilities, and really dives into the catastrophic, cataclysmic, like worst case scenario. But here today I find myself more luminous, more confident, more faithful, more knowing. That this is just part of the process. That sure, maybe there's a possibility these shadows will continue to cling, only insofar as I continue to cling to them. But I have the power with my will and with my prayer to release them. And the more that I face them and I witness them and I release them and I let them dissolve and melt away and I allow myself instead to feel into the abundance of who and what I am and to let the light of my body and my soul shine and melt all of my delusions away from within, then I come into a relational knowing by way of feeling with the very truth which I am choosing and praying into being, which is reunion with God within my heart. Reunion with the purpose which God has instilled within every cell in my body as the microcosmic constituency of my soulful being, here embodied in this body, which is seeking to become free. So yes, I am afraid, or at least some parts of me are. But I'm also fearless. And as I walk the tightrope between these parts of my being, I recognize within myself, within my heart, within my mind, within my soul, the ability to choose which one to lean into. Or if I'm on a tightrope, to choose how to balance between the two, in a way that recognizes the medicine in the shadows and in the fears, that recognizes that those are unintegrated parts of myself which are essentially asking to be heard in order to be felt and healed and released. So that these videos are as much for myself, if not more, as they are for you. I come to these videos most of the time not knowing what I'm about to say. Sometimes I just know exactly. My heart is like, we must talk about this. And it's just a matter of putting it into words, and I allow the words to speak on behalf of my heart and of my soul. But sometimes the words are a self-reflective and introspective, phonetic, outward journal entry, which I speak to you, whoever you are, wherever you are, knowing that I'm also speaking to myself. And then I can integrate the part of my journey which I'm on. And in that process, discover myself more deeply. And hopefully you discover yourself more deeply as well. I have used YouTube for years. Earlier on in far less healthy ways. In the past few years in far healthier ways. In ways that witness certain human beings on their own journeys and recognizing within their journeys mirrored elements which reflect my own. And so there are these parts of me for a long time which have said, I don't know my purpose. I don't know what I'm supposed to speak about. I don't know what I'm supposed to put out there. Everyone that I see on YouTube, they seem to have this like one purposeful, purpose-driven thing that they talk about. And that is what calls in their people who are in resonance with that particular thing, that particular telos, that vision. So that on one hand, I know that I am supposed to find that vision in order to call in my people, who will then co-create a medicinal sphere of vision and purpose and co-creation around that vision, that ideal, that telos, that blueprint. I got a little lost in my words. So that in posting every day, like this, sometimes with a clearer aim, sometimes with a less clear, sometimes in shadow, sometimes in light, sometimes somewhere in between on a tightrope, oscillating, I am simultaneously helping myself discover that purpose. I am calling in the people and the reflections to help me discover that purpose and to help themselves discover that purpose. And I'm essentially calling in from within that which is in alignment with my purpose and with my soul and with God and with my heart, and allowing to be renounced all that does not belong to that journey, and witnessing those parts of myself which actually stand in the way of that. And if what stands in the way is the uncertainty, and my inability to choose one thing, then let that be shown and revealed to me. And then I will be guided. Into the purpose of my heart. So that if anything, I thank you for witnessing me in this self-reflective journey. And I hope and I pray that in whatever mystical and divine ways God can use me to guide you to your purpose, to that which will allow the flower of your soul to bloom. And I pray that you witness those parts of me which are in bloom, and you can be inspired by them. And I pray that you witness those parts of me which are withering away, and you can learn from them. And I pray that as I refine and step into deeper mastery and discovery and knowledge and confidence and choice, that you might do the same within yourself. It is really interesting how strongly certain people on YouTube have been mirrors, like almost directly in my life, going through the exact same journeys that I'm going through at the exact same time. And I witnessed them stepping into the purpose and into the abundance of their soul, into their divine path, their divine mission, which then brings healing to the world, as within, so without. And it is so fucking clear that them just being in that purpose is itself the healing that the world is asking for. When I speak of all of the pain and desperation that is going on in Guatemala, and I ask myself, how do I heal this? How do I heal this within myself? How do I heal this in the world? It is so abundantly clear when I see someone walking in their purpose, that them walking in that purpose, then them blooming into the flower which they are, simply being themselves authentically and fully, that itself is the medicine which the world needs. So that I am phonetically, with the infinite power of my breath and my language and the spells which I weave with my words, aligned with God and faith and trust and heart, I am planting the seeds of that intention into the wind, into the breaths, into the air, the very vibrating air that is resonating into and touching your ears and your heart. I am planting the intention that you and I both can find and step into our divine mission, our divine purpose, our soul's calling, which itself is the medicine of the world, which will bring us each closer to God. I am planting the seed of that intention here and now in these words. To call in the reflections and to produce the reflections which will guide humanity microcosmically and macrocosmically into its divine purpose of healing and reunion with God. And I already know that a deep part of my purpose is to align my breaths and my words with my heart and God. To redirect the currents of reality away from all of the distortion and the falsity and the misalignment and the desperation and the evil and the suffering, back towards homeostasis, truth, alignment, divinity, freedom, love, beauty, creation, art. More freedom, liberation, love, and above all, God. So that every video in which I document a little bit of shadow is me releasing that part, letting it dissolve, melting it away, shedding it, as I step and walk into the purposeful, vision-driven, soulfully aligned, divinely aligned apotheosis of my heart, of my soul, of my being. Which then can hopefully help you do the same. That is the intention. And I pray that it bears fruits of infinite healing for as many people as possible, if not simply for myself. Thank you for witnessing. Thank you for listening. And may we each find exactly what we need to bring us closer to God. Last thing. I have been feeling and leaning into the potentiality of using the power of my mind to give more direction and clarity to these transmissions. Such that I am open to heart-centered, ideally, heart-centered reflections. If you've gotten this far, feel free to let me know. This video would benefit from this, from that, or from the other thing. And then if the reflection is useful, I'll use it, and if not, I'll be like, cool. Those are words. And I'll find it within myself. Okay, that's it. Goodbye.